The Australian Open around the corner, Murray, Djokovic teaming up, that is a dream team. Both players are my heroes. The big question is what racket Murray will pick as a coach. Will he go with the Ezone 100, that was his last racket of choice for competing? Or maybe as a coach he will just go to his old shoes, prestige racket, ultimate control and feel. Or maybe he will just pick Djokovic racket just to kinda pick his eyes and have this sense of what actually he might struggle with while competing. This is quite interesting angle, like trying to figure out what the other guy is experiencing while competing, and it can give you more feedback, like, okay, I think here you could do this. And obviously if Murray is like giving advice while playing with the 16-19 racket, the abilities from each rackets are a bit different. Obviously both players are the kings in adapting, so yeah, that is exciting to see which racket Murray will pick. I think he should just make a tournament of rackets, right? Older prestige sounds like a better direction for Murray. Also, there is this subject of contracts between the brands and the player. I think for the brands it is quite important that the whole team is using the same racket, or at least the brand. And I believe this could be the case for Novak Djokovic. Also, it is quite important for the coaches to know what is the potential of the racket that the player is using, so you can kinda direct this player into specific play styles or tennis identities. Rackets and strings help tuning the tennis identity, I would say. And I believe when you really have this tennis identity, you become a better player, because now you know the patterns, you know how to play, you know how to win, you know how you want to win. If you already come up to the match with some decisions already made, you have an advantage, I would say. So it is quite important to discuss tennis identities. And identities changes. If you start losing more and more, you are looking for solutions. And sometimes the solutions are within your decision-making process. Yeah, and then you can kinda unlock this box of new strings and rackets, looking for more solutions, and yeah, sometimes it helps, sometimes not. Another thing is specs. I think Murray Djokovic is a great team, because both players have similar tennis identities and both players have experience with kinda similar frames, based on some other guys who played with the rackets and know what are those rackets, and the specs of the rackets, they're quite similar with similar potentials. Both players, Murray and Djokovic, kinda grew up with a heavy frames, so they kinda had this same philosophy when it comes to rackets. Djokovic was using a tighter string pattern, Murray 16-19, but he grew up with 18-20 prestige, so yeah, he kinda understands both patterns very well, closed and more opened. But again, 16-19 prestige is not really that much opened. But still, I would say it should give a bit better spin potential than the 18-19 that the Djokovic is having. And I think with every gear change, the possibilities on those very specific situations on the court are slightly different. I believe with the Murray's racket, it was a bit easier to create angles and create shapes above the net, and with Novak's racket, in theory, it should be a bit easier to play a flatter shot, be more aggressive and hit through the court, but nothing that you really couldn't adjust to with techniques, but still the difference is there. So where is the difference? There is a discussion. What's better for his career now? What is helping him and what is holding him back? So yeah, I think having a player with similar preference, similar philosophy, and similar racket history, kinda, or maybe racket preference, is a great value. For example, imagine having Nadal in Djokovic's box, and yeah, Nadal playing with a totally different racket with different power and spin potential. Imagine having this discussion like, okay, Novak, when you're entering here, you kinda just problem is already solved. the next match, Novak is kinda, you know, whipping his racket because he had a master in his box teaching him all the whips that he can create with the racket. I think some specific novelties in technique kinda come from this tennis identity and racket of choice. I believe that with traditional contour-oriented frames, you kinda see more accents on the extension through the ball rather than looking for these crazy spins. But maybe I'm wrong, right? It's also kinda interesting that both players, Djokovic and Murray, started with the 18-20 rackets, and on the way up in the rankings, and as the time was passing by, they switched over to a more user-friendly racket. Murray 16-19 and Djokovic, well, 18-19. He was playing with the 18-20 rackets for much longer period than Murray. So Murray was the first one who kinda got into the specs of the racket and what edge can he get from the racket. That's my guess, at least. Knowing Djokovic craving for perfection, I'm pretty sure he tested a lot of frames, so it's not like Djokovic didn't really care. So again, tennis identities and looking for specific solutions on the court, patterns that you can use to have an advantage over the opponent. This is a very interesting subject, and let me know, guys, what do you think Murray will play with and why? Prestige, or maybe Ezone, or maybe Novak's racket, and Murray will, come back to tour after the playtest. Yeah, so guys, that's it for this video. Please subscribe as it helps me a lot, and see you soon. Bye bye.